Hey everyone, your favorite realtor Corey here with my buddy Leif Nunneley from Envoy Mortgage. We're going to talk today about the lending process and give you a brief summary of how that all works. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome to this week's show. I'm here with Leif Nunneley, and we're going to talk about the lending process. Leif, tell them a little bit about you.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Leif Nunneley, like Corey said, and I work with Envoy Mortgage, which is a national mortgage company, and it's a local lender here in Bakersfield, California, though. I've been in the business about 7 years, so I'm starting to feel like an old, seasoned, grizzly veteran at this point in time.
Yeah, and as an agent, I'm ending the end of my third year, and I've been in this business in other positions for a little bit more than a decade now, so yeah, I'm feeling like an old veteran as well.
Yeah.
All right, guys, just one thing to keep in mind. We are based in California. We're licensed here. The information we're going to give is really general, so it should be applicable to everyone. However, because we are only licensed in California, please check with your local real estate professional or mortgage professional to make sure of anything that you hear here.
Absolutely.
All right, Leif, today we're going to talk about the lending process, give that brief summary. Now, walk us through it. You know, a client calls you and says, hey, I'm interested in buying a house.
Yeah.
How do things go from there?
Right. The first thing that's going to happen, Corey, when someone calls me up and says, I'm interested in buying a house, what do I need to do? The first step is to get pre-qualified. Now, getting pre-qualified is important for a couple reasons. One, it's going to let you know what the maximum amount you can qualify for is, but the second important thing is it's going to help us establish a budget for you. Now, you wouldn't go buy an engagement ring, or hopefully you wouldn't go buy a new car without knowing what your budget was first. Buying a home is the same way. We want to make sure that you're shopping for homes that actually fit your family's needs as well as your family's budget.
Now, that's great information. Now, to get that pre-qualification, what do they need to give to you?
Great question. So the pre-qualification can happen in 3 different ways for me. First way is we can schedule an appointment and meet in person if that's what you feel most comfortable with. The second way is you can do it all online. Most lenders today are going to be paperless, and so you can do an online application, email your paperwork to the loan officer, and it's going to work just fine. The third option is that we can have a 10 to 15 minute phone conversation and actually take your application right there over the phone, so that when you call me, it takes about an hour total for me to run your credit, work up the numbers that you give me over the phone into your file, and see what you're going to be able to qualify for.
Okay, so it sounds like the process is pretty easy no matter which way you decide to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, great. When somebody does want to get that pre-qualification, what kind of documents or anything do they need to have with them to get to you?
That's a great question. So technically, the law says I can't require any documentation from you in order to pre-qualify you. I don't know if you knew
Interesting,
that.
I didn't know that.
But it does make your pre-qualification a lot stronger if you provide documents that follow the simple rule of the 222 rule. Okay, the 222 rule is simply that I will need 2 years tax information. That's going to be your tax returns as well as any W-2s or 1099s you have. This is especially important if you're self-employed. Keep that in mind. I'm also going to need 2 pay stubs, your most recent 2 pay stubs, and then also 2 months bank statements. So if you can remember that 222 rule, you're going to give me enough documentation information to have a really strong pre-qualification letter so that seller knows you're a really well-qualified buyer.
Now, once we get that pre-qualification, we're out looking at homes, we find one we want to put an offer in, what happens then?
Great question. So what I'm going to do is I may tell you, hey, you're pre-qualified for up to $250,000, but I'm not just going to give you a letter for $250,000 because buying real estate is a negotiation and you don't want to give your position away. So what I'll do is Corey will give me a call and he'll say, all right, Leif, we found him that house, but we're only going to offer $230,000 for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write your pre-qualification letter to say you qualify for $230,000 so that seller doesn't think that they can push that price up on you any more than you're willing to go.
And I'm sure all buyers are going to appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Okay, we get an offer accepted. Everything's good to go. We are in that magical place called escrow.
Yes.
What happens on the loan side then?
Great. So once you're in escrow, there's a few really important steps. Number one, I'm going to send out some disclosures to you, and these disclosures are really important. It's going to be a lot of paperwork. You're talking 162 pages on some of these packets. You don't have to sign all those, but that's why we do e-signatures. It's much easier to click than to actually have to hand sign all of them. Once you sign those disclosures, what you are doing is you're saying that you have received this information and that you understand the terms that are laid out for you. You're not yet locked in though, so it's important to get those disclosures read and signed as soon as possible because then we have to order that appraisal. And as you know, the thing that can cause a delay in the closing of escrow is an appraisal more than anything else.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
once you've done that, once you've signed the disclosures, once you've ordered that appraisal, I'm going to let you know what additional documents we need so that we can submit your file to the underwriter. Now, the underwriter is this magical person that is kind of the gatekeeper of all approvals,
Yes.
right? If you've bought a home before, you know what an underwriter is. Now, this underwriter is going to be the person that crosses every T and dots every I. They're going to approve your loan, and then they're going to say, but we need some additional paperwork before we can give you a final approval. Now, don't worry, that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the loan, Corey. It just means that there's additional paperwork that needs to happen. In fact, this can happen 2 or 3 times throughout the process, and it's still okay and something to be expected.
Even though we're licensed in California, if you need help finding a qualified realtor or mortgage professional in your area, give us a call. We'll do the legwork. We will find someone who can help you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here. Really
Absolutely.
appreciate it. Thank you for your time. And I'm sure we're going to have you on again. It's been a
Absolutely.
pleasure.
Thank you, Corey. It's been a pleasure being here.